so much. Anyway, I remember one time I took him some crayons to his apartment, and he wanted to ride to a Goodwill store to look for clothes because he had hundreds of, maybe not hundreds, but dozens of suits, because he always wore more than one suit, 3 or 4 or 5. And I gave him this crayons or something, and he looks at me and he says, "How did I get all this luck in my head?" And that phrase to me said it all, because he was so grateful for, you know, a box of 96 crayons. And the fact that he went to funerals of people he didn't know, mostly at Stuart Calhoun, blew my mind. And at his funeral service, I talked to some people who were there, and after the story was in the paper I wrote about his death, I got a call from Dorothy Jackson, who was the deputy mayor for Akron for many years. And she read the story, and she looked at the picture, and she said, "Oh my God, I've seen that guy at my family's funerals. I never knew who he was." He was always crying at the casket and then lined up to eat, you know, the meal afterwards. He said, "Oh, she was crying. She was in tears." And she said, "Oh, this man, I didn't know who he was. I thought he was somebody's friend." And he really was. So anyway, I'm grateful that I got to know him and glad that this thing is happening today. And thank you all for coming out to help this agency. Thank you.
85 feet long. It's bigger than the Goodyear blimp in the steeple at St. Mary's Catholic Church. It's longer from here to Aldi's and back on the sidewalk. Now get over here and bring me to Popeyes. And about another 30 messages like that played out. And then he got to message 42. And in message 42, he came to the realization why I wasn't picking up the phone. He had determined that I had died, and in the wild and wonderful world of Alfred McMoore, that was a perfectly reasonable deduction. But he would not let me off the hook, though, because my death would not give me a reason to forego my responsibility to take him to Popeyes. So message 42 played out. And again, I cringe because I can't do it justice, and shame on me for not saving the messages, because I wish I could play this for you, because for me to try to recreate the message would be like me trying to do a Black Keys cover right now. But it went like this. "Jim, I know why you're not picking up the phone, because you're dead, and I don't care. You were out driving half drunk," and I always loved the detail that I was driving half drunk. It was a perfect writer's touch on Alfred's part. But he said, "You were out driving half drunk, you had a heart attack, and you crashed your car into a police paddy wagon, and you drove off the bridge, and your car flipped upside down and landed in the lake, and it sank down in the water, and you drowned and you suffocated to death because you had your seatbelt on too tight." And what a way to go. And I only hope when my time comes that I die in such a spectacular manner. But then Alfred paused, and then he let me have it and let me know that he was still expecting me to come through for him, because he said, "Now, Jim, get your lazy, bony, honky ass over here now and take me to Popeyes, you bitch." Now, besides being possibly the greatest message ever left on an answering machine, I love that message for a couple of reasons. First, only the mind of Alfred McMoore could have conjured such a spectacular demise. Again, I hope I go in that manner. But it really represented that Alfred didn't believe that death was this terminal event. It was...
Hello. Yeah. How's everyone doing? Good? Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out tonight. For a good cause, you know. It's much appreciated. All right. Yeah. Just listen to me a little bit more about my mouth on here. Yeah, hello. Yeah. We're gonna keep it rolling, okay?
Till dawn, there's some demon going on.
Jim, I know why you're not picking up the phone, because you're dead, and I don't care. You were out driving half drunk, and I always loved the detail that I was driving half drunk. It was a perfect writer's touch on Alfred's part. But he said, you were out driving half drunk, you had a heart attack, and you crashed your car into a police paddy wagon, and you drove off the bridge, and your car flipped upside down, and landed in the lake, and it sank down in the water, and you drowned and you suffocated to death because you had your seatbelt on too tight.